Warning, Do Not Play is a Shudder original South Korean ghost movie. And this was something I went into completely blind. And having come off of two amazing South Korean 2020 Shudder originals in Metamorphosis and Monstrum, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, I'm just going to check out every South Korean film on here because I'm just riding so high since Monstrum was my number one of the year so far, and Metamorphosis was my number two, and I watched them back to back just a couple days ago, and I was like, holy shit, I just found my number one and two back to back. So I was so excited about that I was like, had pretty high hopes for this being South Korean. And after it ended, I was like, I really enjoyed this. I think there's some issues with it. I wouldn't put it anywhere near as high as one or two of the year or anything, but I really did enjoy this a good amount. And I honestly believe that on a second viewing, if I was to sit down and, I know I keep saying this, I've said this in my Ju-On Origins review that I just did, and I've said this in a few things in the past. I think a second viewing is crucial to your opinion. Like, absolutely crucial, because you get that first initial viewing out of the way. You know, you get that out of the way. There's the excitement comes down just a little bit, and then you put your mind into a different perspective, and you can watch it exactly for what it is. And for this one, I found myself a little confused by some of the elements towards the end that I was like, okay, I need to go back and rewatch this whole thing and understand how this correlates to all the rest. Like, I think I get it, but I want to make sure, and I really, really want to focus on every little point. Now that I know how it ends, I'm going to be looking for these things throughout the film, and I think that could bring it up to a love. But at this moment, I'm on a strong like. I really enjoyed this film. This is about a young filmmaker who hears about this story of a film that was made by a ghost. And so she goes out to try to investigate this for future film idea, whatever. And she goes out and of course she gets herself in way over her head trying to investigate this film that may or may not exist. And as she goes through and starts talking to more people, of course there's more stories behind it. Some are bullshit, some might not be. And she's trying to track down a copy of this film. She's trying to track down the director. And this is, of course, when things start to go really, really wrong. Weirdly, and this might change on the second viewing, but I was really, really I was in love with the first half of this movie as far as like the investigatorial side of it. Like when she was like doing the detective work to try to hunt this film down and the ways that she was going about it. I just thought that was fantastic. And I was like, holy shit, man. Is this going to be like 3 for 3? Is this going to be like my number 3 movie of the year? Like, that would be incredible. And hey, maybe after a second watch, it might bump itself up that high. I don't think it'll ever be that high, to be completely honest. Not with the Grudge, not with The Lodge and VFW and, other films. But man, this could go higher. But I was really into that investigatorial side of things, her investigation. And then once she kind of starts to put the pieces together and we get more into like the more horror side of things, once she's kind of like figured certain things out and the horror's starting to really pack on, that's when the film actually lost me a little bit. Not all the way. And that was only because I felt that the story started to strain itself with the lack of characters within it. There's very few characters in this. This is a very intimate story of just this girl's journey through this, and there's not a ton of interactions with other people, which can give that isolation feel, but I just felt like this may have been better served on a bigger stage with a few more characters involved and a little bit more depth to things. But that's not a huge knock. I'm just saying that I felt myself more invested in the investigation part than the actual discovery of what she was looking for. Now, of course, this is not anywhere near the first film that tackles something like a haunted film, a film that has legendary status around its development, around its creation. We've seen it plenty of times. The Hills Run Red, Cigarette Burns, the list goes on. We've seen plenty of those notorious films that are made, and then people are trying to like hunt down an actual copy. Antrim, the deadliest movie ever made, whatever. There's, as I said, this is not a new concept by any means, but the fact that this was filmed by a ghost is a cool idea. Like, a ghost actually made the movie? Wow, that's super, super interesting. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that movie? I sure as hell would. But as she kind of uncovers everything, this is where the film started to get a little confusing to me, and I didn't really exactly know what the end was trying to say. That's why a second viewing would be. But this film has really good atmosphere. It's very creepy. It has genuinely eerie moments. So I think people who like, Asian ghost movies, I think will dig this. I've seen a decent amount of negativity towards this film, and I don't get it. It's not a bad movie. That's for damn sure. It's a pretty damn good flick. So, Shudder, yet again. Shudder. Get Shudder. Get Shudder and watch the hell out of Metamorphosis, Monstrum, this, Scare Package, Yummy. Those are all the films I've watched in the last, week or two that I've enjoyed the fuck out of. I really enjoyed or loved every title I just mentioned. They're all Shudder originals. It's the only place you can watch any of those, and they all are from 2020. Avoid Lake of Death with every fucking bit of your soul. That movie's dreadful, and that's another one. So, it's hit or miss, but way more hits. Like, last year, I want to say, Shudder... Was it last year Shudder didn't have a lot to offer as far as originals go? And I was like, oh man, Shudder's not really cranking them out this year, because I think the year before was the year where they had a lot of really good ones. So I want to say 2019 might have been their hiccup, but 2020 it's already worth the $6 a month that I pay for the whole year. For the whole year, I've seen enough Shudder originals to justify the price tag of what I pay for the entire year, and I'm sure we're going to get plenty more very, very soon. So pick up Shudder. It's so worth it. Please watch all the films that I just mentioned, especially the South Korean ones. I really, really think they're worth your time, and man, I've been so pleased, and I got plenty more to watch coming up here. So sorry I'm taking a little hiatus from reviews on patrons and all that stuff for the moment, because I'm just trying to catch up on all the new. There's a lot of new stuff from 2020 that I just want to cover, because I like to get to that as fast as possible. And I'm sure the new Into the Dark episode's pretty soon as well. So we'll look forward to all of that very, very soon. Let me know when you watch this. Oh, you know what this kind of reminded me of at times a little bit? Is the video game Fatal Frame. That's another connection. I had a lot of Fatal Frame vibes in this, but it's been a long time since I've played a Fatal Frame game. Do they sell that in any store, like a PlayStation store or an Xbox marketplace or something? You guys know? I'm gonna have to look that up, because the discs and whatnot, the actual copies are fucking outrageous for parts 1 through 3. I think they might even I know they made 3 for sure. But I'd love to go back and rewatch those. If you take photographs of the dead, you go around a haunted place and you take photographs of the dead. There's something that kind of correlates to that in here, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like Fatal Frame, man. Where's a Fatal Frame movie? Give me a Fatal Frame movie. Fuck yeah. Anyways, all right, adios.